Welcome to the ISC Lounge. This is a part 2 video of the ISO 27000-2022 upgrade. If you have not seen the previous video, I encourage you to go back and watch that video. I will put a link to that video in the description below. So let's get started. So in the part 1 of this series, we had already discussed the clauses changes. So in this video, we are going to discuss the updates for controls. So when we discuss controls, there are 11 new controls, 57 merged controls, and there are 23 controls that have been renamed. 35 of the controls have no changes. Here's a list of all the change controls. So let's quickly run through these. So Annex 5.7, Threat Intelligence, 5.23, Information Security for Use of Cloud Services, 5.30, ICT Readiness for Business Continuity, 7.4, Physical Security Monitoring, 8.9, Configuration Management, 8.10, Information Deletion, 8.11, Data Masking, 8.12, Data Leakage Prevention, aka DLP, 8.16, Monitoring Activities, 8.23, Web Filtering, and 8.28, Secure Coding. All right, let's get into the details of these controls. So the purpose of this control is to necessitate the collection and analysis of information regarding potential threats to determine the best course of action for mitigating them. This information can include details on specific attacks, methodologies, technologies used by attackers, and trends in cyber attacks. So let's see what actions you can take to fulfill this requirement. So you ought to collect and analyze information from various sources, and these sources include internal and external sources such as vendor reports and government agency announcements such as like the CISA agency. The second one is to produce threat intelligence to build informed security measures. The next control is 5.23, Information Security for Use of Cloud Services. The purpose of this control is to establish security requirements for cloud services to protect information in the cloud. Here are the actions that you need to take. You need to define processes for acquisition, use, management, and exit from cloud services. And you need to ensure these processes align with the organization's information security requirements. All right, let's move on to the next one. The next control is 5.30, ICT Readiness for Business Continuity. The purpose of this control is to ensure that information and communication technology can handle potential disruption. And here are the actions that are required. You must plan, implement, maintain, and test ICT readiness, and also align ICT continuity plans with the business continuity objectives. Let's look at the next one. A.7.4 has to do with the physical security monitoring. So obviously the purpose of this control is to monitor sensitive areas to prevent unauthorized physical access. And the processes that you need to have in place are for continuously monitoring premises such as your offices, your office suite, your server room, your LAN room, your data center, and facilities like that. And also, you need to implement measures to detect and respond to unauthorized access. Let's move on to the next one. So the next control is 8.9, which is for the configuration management. The purpose of this control is to oversee the security configuration process to prevent unauthorized modification and maintain security. And the actions you can take to fulfill these requirements are that you must establish, document, implement, monitor, and review configurations of hardware, software, services, and networks, and also to ensure that configurations meet your organization's security requirements. All right, let's move on to the next one. So the next one is 8.10. The purpose of this control is to delete the data when no longer needed to prevent sensitive information leakage. Like I said, this has to do with the DLP process. So you need to implement DLP processes, policies, and technical controls. So the actions that are required are to ensure information stored in systems, devices, and any other storage media is deleted when no longer needed, and also to follow organizational policies and applicable legislations. And these requirements can also come from your contractual requirements. You can derive the requirements from there. The next control is 8.11, data masking. Purpose of this control is the use of data masking to limit the exposure of sensitive information. Action required is to apply data masking according to the organization's access control policies and business requirements. You must also consider applicable legislations when implementing data masking. Okay, so the next control is 8.12. The purpose of this control is to implement measures to prevent the inappropriate sharing of sensitive information. So the actions that you must take are to apply data leakage prevention measures to systems, networks, and devices that process, store, and transmit sensitive information. You need to ensure that timely detection and response to unauthorized disclosure is also in place. Let's look at the next control, 8.16, monitoring activities. Purpose of this control is to monitor IT systems for unusual activity to ensure security. So you need to have controls in place that will monitor networks, systems, and applications for anomalous behavior. And also you have to have processes in place to take appropriate actions to evaluate and respond to those potential information security incidents. Let's look at the next control. The next control is 8.23, and this one has to do with the web filtering. The purpose of this control is to manage users' website access to prevent malicious code and illegal material access. And the actions that you can take or the controls that you can implement are the controls such as web filtering plugins in your browsers, web filtering technologies at your perimeter firewalls. All this is to control access to the external websites, and you will take these actions to control the access to the external websites, and that is to reduce exposure to malicious content. Let's look at the next control. The next control and the final control is secure coding. The purpose of this control is to apply secure coding principles to minimize security vulnerabilities in software development. And the actions that you need to take is that you need to have a process in place that plugs right into your SDLC so that every time there's a new release, you have a process that takes over before this release becomes final or before this release goes into production. So you have secure coding practices implemented right before that. So you follow rigorous steps before, during, and after coding to ensure robust security. All right, that was all for this video. Remember, don't be scared, be prepared. Take care of yourself. Till next time.